Good evening, everyone. My name is Malik Washington. Welcome back to another episode of the BMB. I hope everyone is doing fine wherever you all reside at this current juncture. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to dive right on into the topic and talk about how everything that is open to you is not to your benefit, or everything is open, but yet it is not expedient for your life. Why am I talking about this and what does this concern? Well, I'm talking about this because I believe that this is something that we all go through on a day-to-day basis, is that we all make decisions that we eventually, at some point in our life, we may decide to regret because we're trying to have fun in the moment. We're trying to obtain instant gratification, and often that instant gratification leads to a lot of irresponsibilities, bad decisions, bad choices, and bad effects on our lives. When we all do things that don't work to our benefit, obviously, things go haywire and life falls like a domino effect on us, to the point to where sometimes we can either manage it or we can't manage it too well, and we might need assistance in order to help get ourselves out of the rut that we put our own selves in. In today's times, when we make certain choices or decisions, we often don't take accountability for our actions. And typically, we have to fall on a lot of assistance of others. Sometimes others have to take on our burdens. And due to that respect, many of us fall into the dependence of others in order to get ourselves out of those situations, which is not very often ideal for those who seek to be independent or autonomous or have some type of ability to be able to do for themselves. Sometimes making bad choices early on often leads to a lot of struggle, turmoil, blood, sweat, and tears, you name it, whatever the severity uh, of that situation is, right? So in this world, just about everything that we do as human beings is open to us, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it's there for you to experience it if that's what you choose and if that's what you so desire. However, it must be understood that with everything that you do, good or bad, there is an effect to how you approach the situation, right? Kind of like a simple cause and effect. Put your hand on the stove, you're likely to get burned. Stay in the water for too long, and your lungs are bound to collapse, which then leads to water being consuming your body, and you end up drowning. Stay too close to a tornado, you may get flown up in the air and then just flipped out like a rag doll somewhere else. The point is that whatever situation you tend to put yourself in, it's likely to hand you back a result, which can be negative or positive indifference. And so in these situations, we want to make sure we choose the best option and avert the most danger, because we don't want to put ourselves in a situation that can cause us harm, or it can cause harm to our future and jeopardize our viable options we may have to help us to succeed. Not to say that if you do make bad choices that you will be a complete failure. Everyone makes bad choices at some point in their life, whether if it's minor or major indifference. But every bad choice is meant to be a learning experience for you when you fall hard on your ass or when something bad happens to you. An example I can provide is what recently happened with this head coach. And many of you who are either sports enthusiasts or sports apologists, or you're a fan of sports, you name it. Particularly if you like the NBA, you would then know of a head coach by the name of Ime Udoka, right? Who just recently he got into I don't even know if you would call it an entanglement, but it's your run of the mill situation of cheating and uh, being basically being a hoe, going around and screwing and fucking different women and all this other types of stuff when you're in a very good position. Ime Udoka, for those of you who don't know who he is, he's a Nigerian American who is an immigrant from Africa. His parents came here and they worked hard through blood, sweat, and tears to get to where they are in this country. Ime Udoka eventually becomes the head of the Celtics which he led at first initially before this entire debacle came up. And I think he married Nia Long. And for those of us, we all know who Nia Long is, the actress, fine as hell, look good, probably would want to marry her if you met her, if you saw her, if she's your preference, if that's your speed. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Don't know, don't care. The bottom line is that he married Nia Long, and he got caught in a situation where he had slept with one of his staffers in the NBA business. Unfortunately, as a result of this, his position was he was resigned from his position, and he no longer has the benefits of being a head coach. Now, being the head coach of the Celtics is actually not a bad job to be in, and I think these coaches, they got to be making like $250,000 to $500,000 a year. Now, I could be wrong. For those of you who know sports better than I do, you all know how the contracts work. I personally don't know. I don't care. It is what it is, because I'm not really into sports like that. I do like the NBA, but I watch it from time to time. It depends on who the teams are that are playing, but I don't care too much for it. The point is that this guy makes a lot of money for the position that he's in. And I think anybody who has a dream of leading a team, coaching them to the victories, and, just cares about the heart of the sport, they would be lucky to have that position like Ime Udoka. But he decided to put the cheats over his job, and the reality, and what ended up happening, he ended up losing it as a result. He embarrassed his wife, Nia Long. Obviously, she was hurt by it, because not only was it said that he had just been sleeping with one staffer, he slept with multiple staffers. So the thing is, this was all open to him. And like the average man, he thought with his penis, he did not think with his head, right? We have to understand, this is a lesson for men to learn, because this is something that we do all the time, right? We love women. We love what's in between their legs. We love how it makes us feel, right? The thing is, though, in this situation, he's monogamous. His relationship dynamic is monogamous. It's not like he's swinging. It's not like he's in a poly relationship. The guy is in a purely monogamous relationship with this woman, this fine ass woman that he had. And he decided to sleep around with his staffers because he could. But the problem is with most men, and this is the typical downfall of men throughout history, is that they get into these positions of power and they think they can just do what they want to do. And there are no repercussions for the things that they do. But this was his comeuppance, because he decided that he wanted to sleep around with all these different women, and he didn't want to focus on his career. Here's the thing. The NBA has rules. You cannot sleep. And this is just not even just the NBA. This is a lot of corporations or jobs. You cannot sleep around with employees. You just can't do it, because there is legality issues behind that. You would become a liability, right? Already, we just came out of an era where there was the Me Too movement, and to a degree that kind of still exists to a degree. A lot of people are coming out and admitting what men of power have done over the years. Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, you name it. And to some degree, some of these men have done the things that these women had accused them of after so many years. However, nonetheless, it still happens. And if you're head coaching a team like the Celtics, or it doesn't matter what team you head coach, you're there to do a job. You're not there to go and fuck women. And men sometimes choose the wrong time to do these things. But on top of that, you're married. I'd imagine, I don't think Nia Long would appreciate that, unless y'all have a dynamic that is totally dichotomous from a monogamous relationship. So unless you have a woman that wants to share, I don't think you want to be caught up in that type of scenario. And if you are into that sort of thing, that I dare to think that maybe you need to find somebody who's into that and don't mind you sleeping around, or you just don't get married and don't play that game, right? Because marriage is a contract. Marriage, it could be based on love. It can be transactional, which means it could be about business. It could be political. Whichever one, though, it's meant to be taken seriously, gravely. The problem is a lot of people get into these things, and in reality, at heart, in their own heart of hearts, they know that they're not really ready for marriage, but they get into these dynamics because they have ulterior motives. Now, this guy, he had a good position in the NBA, and because he was power tripping, he started sleeping around. He thought he could get away with it. Matter of fact, there's allegations that he had been sleeping around with one of the NBA players' wives on his team. So this guy is just a complete ho. He's just going around screwing whoever he wants to. He's piping down whoever he can find. The thing is, though, okay, fine, you want to sleep around. Why would you do it with one of the people in your association, knowing that it could cost you your damn job? That's just not smart. That's not intelligent whatsoever. The point is that it's just because it's there, just because it may look and feel good, doesn't mean that it's to your benefit. And men, as well as women, have to learn this. It doesn't matter what it looks like or how it feels. If it's not going to benefit you, think hard about trying to choose to make that decision before you actually go into it. Because once you do it, guess what? You can't come back out of it. You can't leave it. You can't change it. Can you redeem yourself? Possibly in the years ahead. But as far as in that moment, once you do it, you can't go back. You can't go back. The damage is done. You can't repair it. There's no reparations for that. You can apologize all you want, but the best apology is just not to do it again or not to do it at all. But when you sit around and you decide to do it, it was in your heart to do it from the inception. For instance, if you know that you got married to Nia Long, and you know that in part marriage is not about you committing infidelity, and you decide at the end of the day that when you see another woman, you want to screw her, in mind, you already have it in your heart that you want to screw another woman outside of your wife. So at the end of the day, it's in your heart already to want to screw. But in the times that you were with her, you didn't think about it. But then time progresses even further. Now your mind is reverting back to that thought. I think I want to fuck her. Or for a woman, I think I want to fuck him. See, it's not like you just suddenly when you get caught, all of a sudden you're innocent again. No, that's not how that works. Otherwise, if you hadn't been caught, you would have kept doing it. But because you got caught, now you're sorry. You see, that's just the way the human mind is. We're complex that way. We like to tell ourselves that we don't really want to do it. We like to tell ourselves that that's not what we do. But if you decided to do it in the first place, it was already in you to do it. You're just apologizing to placate the situation. But true apologies come from your actions, not from what you say. Anybody can apologize and say, yeah, I'm sorry that I cheated on you. Please forgive me. That's easy to do. Can you actually stop doing it? That's an entirely different conversation. And the person has to be willing to forgive you in the first place that you cheated on. So all I'm saying is to you all, ladies and gentlemen, and this is a relatively short video, not even here to keep you. The point is that everything in this world is not to your benefit. It may be open to you. It may look good to you. It may even sound good to you. But if at the slightest thought that you feel like there's doubt because you feel like this is all too good to be true, believe it. Believe in that doubt. It is too good to be true. Sleeping around with a staffer, sleeping around with anybody may look good and feel good, but that's not going to help you. Now you just lost your career. You've been there you've been with the association for 20 plus years, and you let go of that, your tenure, your job, your livelihood for some coochie. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Make better decisions. Think differently. Learn from this man, because that's what you're not supposed to be, right? If you are a person that sleeps around, do you. Nobody's stopping you from doing what you do. But even in what you do, there are consequences to that, right? And everything that anybody does in this life, there are consequences to them. So you can either follow the right direction, don't do that shit at all that gets you caught up, or follow that direction that you want to go to. Follow that wild and dangerous side and get yourself messed up. Only in the end to regret that a lot of the decisions you make could have cost you a lot of heartache and could have, you could have chose the better option, which would have gave you a lesser heartache. But a lot of people have to fall on their hard asses in order to get up and try again and not do it again. A lot of us do what we do because eventually when we have kids, we don't want our kids to do that. When you've done it, you typically don't want the next generation to do it because you know what it's like. Unless you're successful or you're doing the right thing or you're trying to be a better example for the futurity of your progeny. At the end of the day, that's something you don't want your kids to do. Just because I do it don't mean I want you to do it. But everybody got to learn for themselves. So I'll leave it right there. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Malik Washington. I hope you enjoyed this insight on breaking mental barriers. Have a good day or good night wherever you reside. And I thank you for listening if you got this far. Like this video if you enjoyed the content. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. I am also on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify, so you can check those out as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for listening if you got this far. Stay tuned until the next episode, and with this I say peace.